Evening everybody, Sewalt here, back for a Transformers review. Going to be doing today, as per the title screen, Thundercracker. This is a Robot Masters Thundercracker, and I thought I'd do the Robot Masters for Thundercracker because I've done Skywarp and Starscream, and Skywarp and Starscream I did using the original G1 toys, the F-15 Diaclone ranges. So I thought with Thundercracker, instead of just doing the exact same toy again, just with a different colour, I'd do Robot Masters. Okay, now Thundercracker is, of course, one of the original three Seekers. Comes to Earth in More Than Meets the Eye, and he's one of the original Decepticons under Megatron. And Thundercracker stays around for the first two series, and he's really one of those Decepticons that never does anything. And in all fairness, Thundercracker probably has the least amount to do in the original series. Of all the Decepticons, he's the one that never really does a lot at all. I mean, even Reflector seems to get more screen time than Thundercracker does, and Reflector vanishes after the first series. Thundercracker is depicted really as being Skywarp and Starscream's friend. Originally, though he's definitely more allies with Skywarp, who is his most frequent partner. Though Thundercracker is actually depicted as being obviously more intelligent than Skywarp, because Skywarp's thick. He does seem to bear an overwhelming dislike of Starscream. He really does hate Starscream's ego and Starscream's own feelings of his own self-worth. He really does despise him for that. To the point where he will actually actively screw over Megatron's plans to make Starscream look good, in the way he was going to let Jetfire destroy Megatron's weapon when I believe they're in Peru. Okay, Thundercracker, his personality is slightly different to many Decepticons in that he doesn't see the need, and he doesn't actively outright do it. He doesn't kill humans in the way that the other Decepticons do. He has a bit more of regard for life, of human life, than the other Decepticons do. He's not quite as callous towards them. However, this small spark of altruism is hidden well behind his own sense of self-preservation. He will never, ever, ever admit to it, mainly because Megatron would quickly stomp it. Megatron, of course, can't stand weakness, and definitely having a sympathy for the little flesh creatures really wouldn't endear you to Megatron an awful lot. Thundercracker, of course, meets his demise in the movie, and unlike Skywarp, where there's a lot of debate regarding who becomes Cyclonus, it's very, very obvious who Thundercracker becomes. He becomes, well, that really doesn't look good, does it? Blah, 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 yes, Thundercracker becomes Scourge. Thundercracker becomes Scourge, that one of the dynamic duo of Series 3 and beyond, who will get reviews at some point, by the way. And that's it for Thundercracker. And Thundercracker, unfortunately, doesn't get much time in the cartoons either. He is often depicted as working alongside Skywarp in the original Marvel cartoons. Obviously because but his shading tends to be a lot darker. Oops, I dropped his gun. His shading tends to be a lot darker in the comics than he does in the original cartoons. Thundercracker appears to meet his end mainly in the cartoons anyway. In guess which series? Thundercracker goes up against the underbase powered Starscream. Guess what happens to him? Along with every other Transformer seemingly in the entire world, he gets deactivated. And that's pretty much it for Thundercracker. In the Dreamwave publications, again, he doesn't really get a lot. He's there in the likes of Transformers Generation 1's volume, I think he's in volume 1. He's definitely in volume 2, and he's in volume 3. Volume 2 is still the one that I really want to get the other two parts of. But anyway, that's not the point. In the IDW publishings, in chronological order, Thundercracker has been with Megatron almost from the beginning, because he's one of the original pit fighters that that joins Megatron in Megatron Origins. I believe that's correct. Yes, I believe that is correct. Thundercracker's role doesn't end there. He gets a brief mention in Transformers Armada when the Decepticons all get their power-ups, and Starscream gets recoloured blue. But the only reference really to Thundercracker is Starscream turns around and says, "I look like Thundercracker," when he wakes up and somehow realises that he's blue, but doesn't actually look at himself, because I believe he just opens his eyes and goes, "I look like Thundercracker." Oh, bugger and heck, he's good. And that's the most reference there is to Thundercracker in Armada. He gets his own character in Cybertron, and like many of the Decepticons in Cybertron, in Transformers Cybertron, he's one of the comic reliefs. He speaks with this very much this southern drawl to his voice, and he laughs maniacally an awful lot. He's actually, the way he laughs at times, he's quite reminiscent to the way that Snowcat used to laugh in, and Cyclonus used to laugh in Armada and Energon. And he doesn't even, Thundercracker in Cybertron doesn't even have two hands. He's got this stupidly long arm cannon for one hand, and it looks really weird. And he's very much like one of the comic reliefs, along with the likes of Crumple Zone. No, he's rather stupid, and he can't fly very well, and he can't shoot very well, but he thinks he's brilliant. But the less said about Cybertron Thundercracker, the better. Okay, now onto the toy itself. The Robot Masters, I don't know how many there are. I only know of two myself, and that's Thundercracker and his repaint Skywarp. Now, the Robot Masters were an attempt by Takara, I believe. Yes, they were. They were released by Takara. They weren't released by Hasbro. Or if they were, I don't have the Hasbro ones. In an attempt, because to make them look more like their Generation 1 cartoons. Because, of course, in the cartoon, they don't look an awful lot like their toys do. The Robot Masters attempted to fix this, but it kept an awful lot of the original style of transformation. That really does like to fall out. I'll just try and transform him now. He's a little bit fiddly. I'll show you the similarities with the G1 cartoon. The G1 toy, the Diaclone toy. Most prominently, if I can do this correctly, obviously, is this central piece here. For those of you, obviously, who have these toys, you know what I'm about to do. If I can do it, because as I said, it's very fiddly. You actually need to work. There we go. That's right. So it folds out like that, and it pops up like that, and you turn the head round. The arms fold in on themselves, and then slot in like that. The same as they do on the Diaclone toy range. So they are very, very similar toys. Aside, obviously, from the side difference, and this one is made exclusively of plastic. And for a Takara toy, which, aside from one notable Decepticon leader exception, Takara tend to make very, very good toys. But the plastic, and though the plastic doesn't fall apart very well, doesn't really fall apart, it does have a bit of a cheap-esque feel to it. You push the legs in, you snap these into place. Ow! Oh, my finger. There we go. And there you have the F-15 jet. And the guns, of course, stick under the cannon, stick under the arms, under the wings. The arms. Looks very, very nice. Unlike of course, in the cartoons, the Decepticons, though the Seekers, I'll show you with Skywalk because I can't bother transforming Thundercracker again. The Seekers, of course, have their arm cannons, their arm guns up here, so they're more like on the sides of their arms. But a lot of the time when they fire them, the guns seem to rotate it's probably an animation error, but God knows how they're supposed to do it. But of course, the guns also act like that, so they're down like that. The Robot Masters toy reflects this, so you can keep the guns, same as the Classics does, incidentally. Right, so you've got the gun there on Scott. I'll move the... fell off again. Move the arm down, move the wing down so you can see, right? So you've got the gun there, and there's a hole just in the side of the arms. But you can also slot them in like that. So you've got that famous arm thingamabobby up on the top of the arm that the Seekers are quite well known for. The Robot Masters, these set me back 20 quid off a guy off one of the forums. Joe Willie must message him and tell him I've got them, because I still haven't messaged him. These are 20 quid, but I've seen the Robot Masters going MISB, mint in seal boxes, for about 80 quid on eBay. Even them on their own, they're going for about £30 on eBay. They come with... I got them in their box, and they come with these things. And these things push, these chrome things, push onto their chests, their chest pieces. Like so. And then they open up. Naturally, doesn't want to do it. There we go. They open up like so. You can see that? Yeah, you can just see that. And they've got these four little things, which I'm assuming, is it supposed to be some kind of gun, or what is it supposed to be? I don't know. Either way, they look quite nice. I mean, I keep them on them in robot mode, whether I'm supposed to or not. You can see there it's Skywarp. They look quite nice. The Robot Masters are I think the Robot Masters are a very nice toy. I mean, one of the debates that I'm currently having on TFNet is which is the most transformery transformer, and I put forward these Robot Masters because apart from the fact they have no movement whatsoever in the legs, and they really don't. I mean, they've got no knees, which is hardly a rare fault in a Generation 1 toy. Most of them don't have knees, so the knees don't do anything. But I think they're very, very nice toys. You know, the plastic does feel kind of cheap, but they hold together very well. But okay, that's it for now. This is with Thundercracker. I have a second review. Well, I have a second video planned. I suppose, yes, it is a review coming up, so I'm going to probably make that just while I'm uploading this one. But for now, this is Silverbolt with Thundercracker, with Robot Master Thundercracker, with his wings in a weird ass position, with Robot Master Thundercracker signing off, saying au revoir, adios, auf Wiedersehen.